Ever get that feeling like something's off? You know that like a prickle on the back of your neck?
Yeah.
Well, the McDana family, they found out that it wasn't just paranoia. It was a premonition.
Yeah.
Their story. It's featured on 48 Hours, Living to Tell,
Yeah.
Hunting Humans.
Okay.
And it takes us deep into this nightmare. Started on a hot summer night back in 2007.
Wow. What gets me about this case is it just seems so random. Like, they left the door unlocked because of the heat, and that's how the terror got in. It's like a reminder, right? Like,
Yeah.
the difference between feeling safe and being vulnerable, it can change in a second.
Yeah, really makes you think twice about those little things we do every day, huh?
Absolutely.
So tonight we're going deep on the McDana family.
Okay.
Kevin, Jeannie, and their daughter, Shay. It was just an ordinary Sunday night. They had dinner. It was crazy hot out, and they left their door unlocked.
Oh, wow.
And that decision, it had consequences they never could have imagined.
You know, that detail about the unlocked door, it's almost like a symbol, don't you think? Like, it shows how we think our homes are these safe spaces, like nothing can get us there. But this case, it just blows that idea apart. It reminds us that we're not as safe as we think we are.
It really does.
Yeah.
So Shay gets home first that night. She was a little early for her midnight curfew,
Okay.
and she left the door unlocked for her brother, not knowing that he was actually staying at a friend's house. It's these small acts of kindness, these everyday things that just make the story even more powerful, you know?
Yeah, totally. And then, right in that place where she should feel safe, that's where it all starts. Shay goes to bed, and in the middle of the night, she wakes up to someone in her room, a masked intruder with a knife at her throat. You can just feel the terror in that moment. Imagine waking up to that, your peaceful sleep turning into a nightmare.
It's every homeowner's worst nightmare.
Oh, absolutely.
The episode says the intruder's voice was cold, unfamiliar. And that detail, it just makes it even scarier.
Yeah.
Shay fought back, pure adrenaline, and knowing her parents were close by.
Wow.
Talk about brave. She wouldn't give in to that terror.
And her parents, when they heard what was going on, they reacted immediately.
Yeah.
They came face to face with this intruder, and the episode doesn't hold back on how violent that struggle was. Kevin, he was smaller than the attacker, but he fought with everything he had. And Jeannie, she even grabbed the blade of the knife,
Oh, my God.
just trying to protect her family. It's like you can almost feel that instinct, that fierce love of parent.
So chilling. Shay's 911 call. It's chaotic. You can hear the panic in her voice.
Yeah.
But somehow, in all that fear, she stays clear-headed. She tells the dispatcher there's a man with a gun.
Whoa.
Total lie, but it probably saved them.
Yeah.
And then the intruder, he says why he's there. He just wanted money.
That's so strange. Why it doesn't make sense? Like, that's his reason for this whole violent attack. It's a little window into his mind, how twisted it is. And that's when the family realizes this isn't someone they know. This is a complete stranger who's invaded their home, their safe place. The police show up, thank goodness, but no one knows who this guy is.
Yeah. The episode talks about how confused everyone was about who this guy could be.
Right.
He ends up being Adam Leroy Lane, a long-haul trucker.
Right.
But then they find a movie in his truck, Hunting Humans,
Uh-oh.
a movie about a serial killer.
And that changes everything. What started as a home invasion is now something way more terrifying. That movie, plus his job driving all over the country, it makes you think maybe this wasn't his first time. Maybe there's more to this. It's a total game changer, and it makes them dig deeper, looking for any connections to other unsolved crimes.
And that's when they find out something truly disturbing. The McDana attack. It wasn't a one-time thing. Just a few days before, in New Jersey, a woman named Monica Mazzuro was found stabbed to death in her home. The similarities between the two cases, they couldn't ignore them. It all pointed to Adam Leroy Lane.
It's like the investigation explodes. Now it's across state lines, a race against time to figure out where Lane's been and how much he's done. And then they get lucky. Lane's truck, they were about to empty it, get rid of everything. But the investigators in New Jersey, they hear about the possible connection to the Mazzuro case, and they get in touch with the Massachusetts police just in time.
Can you imagine? They almost lost all the evidence, just tossed in a landfill.
Unbelievable.
It's a real testament to luck and to the dedication of those investigators.
Yeah.
They literally went through the trash,
Wow.
looking for anything that could help.
And what did they find?
And there, among all the junk, they found the key to solving the whole thing. Lane's knives. And the tests. They showed DNA evidence connecting those knives, not just to the Mazzuro case, but to another woman who was murdered in Pennsylvania. Her name was Darlene Ewald. Suddenly, it's not just one or two cases, but a whole string of them. This guy was moving in the shadows, leaving a trail of pain and violence everywhere he went.
Yeah. The Darlene Ewalt case, it had been cold for years. Her husband was even a suspect at one point. Can you imagine that? Not only losing someone you love, but thinking maybe someone you know did it.
It's unimaginable.
Then they find Lane's knives and the DNA evidence. It connects him, brings closure to the family, but it's a tough kind of closure.
Yeah. And it shows how these crimes, they don't just affect the victim, you know? It's the families, the friends, the whole community.
Absolutely.
The McDanus, after what happened, they could have just focused on themselves, tried to heal on their own, but they didn't.
Oh, that's
They
interesting.
reached out to the Misereau family and the Ewald family, wanted to support them, share their story.
That says a lot about them. To go through something like that and then reach out to others who understand that pain, that's amazing.
It really is. And the episode talks about how important that was, finding a community after trauma.
Right.
They realized they weren't alone. They found comfort in each other.
Exactly. It proves that even when things are awful, connecting with people can help you heal. And it reminds us that justice isn't just about punishing the criminal, it's about helping the victims and their families recover.
So true. And speaking of the legal stuff, Lane ended up taking plea deals in all 3 states. Life sentence for Darlene Ewald's murder. It closes the case legally, but there's still so many questions. Like, why did he do it?
Yeah, the episode really dives into that. Lane didn't say much. He never really explained himself. It's almost like he wanted to keep some control, like a final screw you to the authorities and the families.
Or maybe his mind was just so messed up, so far gone that he couldn't even explain it himself.
Maybe, as one of the creepiest things about this case, we want answers. We want to understand why someone would do something so horrible. But sometimes there just aren't any answers.
And that's scarier than any confession.
It really is.
The episode goes into Lane's background, but there's nothing that stands out. You
No.
know? Like, he had a normal childhood, no big traumas. Makes you wonder, was that darkness always there, just waiting to come out?
Whoa. Yeah, that makes you think about human nature, right? Like, maybe anyone is capable of this kind of evil. It's a scary thought.
It is. And you think about his job, driving all over the place. It gave him freedom, anonymity. He could be anyone, anywhere.
Yeah.
How many more cases like this could there be?
Right. The highway system is massive. It could be the perfect hiding place for someone like him.
It's a creepy thought. You think of the open road, you think of freedom, adventure. But for someone like Lane, it was like a hunting ground.
The episode doesn't give any definite answers, but it does make you wonder. If you have a job where you're alone a lot, traveling all the time, are there even ways to check for this kind of danger? How do you keep people safe without taking away their privacy and freedom?
It's a tough question. No easy answers. But it definitely shows that we need to be more aware, right? Not just truckers, but everyone. We have to be careful, notice things, and tell someone if we see anything strange.
Exactly. The police can't be everywhere. It takes all of us working together to be safe. Like, we need to pay attention to our surroundings, trust our gut feelings, and speak up if something seems off.
This case also shows just how important forensics are in solving crimes, especially when they cross state lines. Imagine if they hadn't found Lane's knives and that DNA evidence.
Oh, yeah.
They might never have connected him to Monica Misereau and Darlene Ewald.
Right.
Those cases could have stayed unsolved forever. Those families would never know what happened.
It's amazing what they can do with forensics now, and those people who do that work. They're the real heroes, They're the ones who put in all the hours connecting the dots and helping families get some closure after something so terrible.
And we can't forget those families.
Of course not.
The McDanus, the Misereaus, the Ewalds, they're all so strong throughout this whole thing. Imagine going through something like that, then having to go to court, fight for justice. They supported each other through a nightmare, and they never gave up.
It shows you how resilient people can be. They found strength in sharing their experiences, they fought for justice together, and they honored their loved ones by working to make the world safer. It's really inspiring.
Adam Leroy Lane's story, it's a dark one, full of violence, and we'll never have all the answers. It makes you realize that evil can be anywhere, hiding in plain sight.
Yeah. But it also shows you how strong people can be. It's about resilience, courage, and finding a way through even the worst pain. It reminds us that we're not alone, that even when it's dark, there's hope, there's connection, and there's healing.
If you want to learn more about this case, hear the families tell their stories, check out the 48 Hours episode, Living to Tell, Hunting Humans. It gives you a much deeper look into everything, the investigation, the trial, and how much this affected everyone involved.
And if you're interested in more deep dives like this one, be sure to subscribe to The Deep Dive. We'll be back with more fascinating stories, exploring all sorts of topics, and hopefully making you think a little bit along the way.